always walked on trails, but this one felt different. The air was heavy, as if the forest were waiting for me. Each step echoed louder than it should, as if something were repeating my movements, just with a slight delay. Right from the start, I realized that the sounds of the forest were wrong. No birds, no insects, just silence, and the soft sound of something breathing among the trees. The fog began to creep across the ground, dense, icy, almost alive. It clung to my legs as if trying to stop me from continuing. Still, I pressed on. That's when I found the first marks on the ground, like claws dragged through the earth, deep, recent. Something big had passed through there, something I didn't want to see. The trail climbed towards the mountains. The further I went, the more I felt I was being watched. The sensation of invisible eyes following my steps was impossible to ignore. The wind began to blow through the trees, but it didn't sound like wind. It was a whisper, incomplete words, as if the forest were trying to warn me of something or call me. Suddenly, I heard branches breaking, heavy footsteps, a deep, almost animal sound. I pointed my flashlight, but all I saw was the forest, motionless. Everything was too quiet. When I arrived at the canyon, the wind carried my name, first softly, then clearly, repeated by the stone walls, as if the mountain itself wanted to speak to me. The path grew narrower, and soon I noticed the bones, small at first, then bigger and bigger, as if I were walking into the mouth of something. On the mountain crest, I saw the silhouette, still, upright, looking at me, not moving. I blinked, and it turned its head, too fast. The shadows on the ground began to move, not like normal shadows. They crawled, advanced, even without any body to project them from. I held my breath and continued. When I found the camp, I understood that I wasn't the first. The tents were torn, dragged, signs of struggle, of despair. The people who were there had fled, or tried to. I walked and walked, but the same fallen tree trunk kept appearing before me. It was impossible, as if I were trapped inside a labyrinth made of trees, repeated endlessly. The lantern illuminated the crossroads, even though there was no fire inside. Still, it shone, and it turned toward me, as if pointing the way or a trap. With each step, the ground sounded hollow, as if something was digging underneath, breathing, following my movements with frightening precision. When I heard the crying coming from the ravine, I felt my stomach churn. It was faint, then louder, then distorted, as if the voice came from a mouth that shouldn't be speaking. The trail arrow pointed to the left. I blinked. Now it pointed to the right. The wood creaked, alive, as if it were spinning on its own, or as if something were spinning it. The water fell at a steady pace, but it made no sound. Nothing. Just absolute silence. And behind the waterfall, I saw something moving in the dark, tall, thin, watching. I looked up, and there it was, the creature. Long hair, arms as thin as branches, eyes gleaming in the dark, following me from the beginning. The boots were warm, as if someone had just taken them off seconds before. Steam rose from them, and then one of them moved on its own. The path behind me had disappeared. The trees had shifted, creating a narrow corridor that pushed me forward. There was no way back. When I stopped walking, my footsteps continued. First far away, then close, very close, as if something were imitating me or chasing me. The bridge swayed as if something heavy were passing over it, but I was still standing there. Something had crossed before me and was waiting at the end. The glow behind me grew stronger. The light came closer, as if someone were following me with a lantern. But there was no one, only the sound of breathing behind the light. The map trembled in my hands. The paths changed on their own. Whispers came from the paper, repeating a word I didn't want to hear. Go back. I saw someone in front of me, a hiker like me. He was walking slowly as if he were tired. But when the fog lifted, he vanished. He left no trace. Nothing. The scream echoed so loudly that I felt the air vibrate. It sounded human, but then it turned into a deep gravel sound, as if something enormous was calling to me. I climbed the old steps without stopping. 50, 100, 200, but they never ended. The higher I climbed, the stronger the feeling became that someone was climbing behind me. And then, everything moved. The roots tore open the soil. The branches cracked like bones rearranging themselves. The entire forest opened its eyes. It didn't want me to leave. It wanted to keep me there, forever.